Okay, so if I say I got an A on a test because I am intelligent, what is that? Stable, right? Because you're intelligent always. You're not intelligent one day and then dumb the next, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if I say I got a good grade on a test because I studied all night, unstable. Okay, because who's to say the next test that I'm going to study all night again? We don't know. Okay, so make sure you know the difference between internal attribution, external attribution, fundamental attribution error, self-serving bias, stable versus unstable. Okay, and then of course there's internal and external attribution. Oh, actor-observer bias. That sort of covers all of that. Okay, so you're more likely, like self-serving and fundamental attribution are included under actor-observer bias. What this means is, depending on if you're the actor, meaning like you're in the situation, you got into the accident, you got the grade on the test, or you're the observer, meaning like someone else did it, you're going to change the attributions, right? So let's say the failing grade one. If you're an actor in it, the failing grade is going to be due to what? The teacher, external factors, right? Self-serving bias. If you're an observer, someone else got a failing grade, it's going to be due to what? Internal, okay? Actor-observer bias, right? We blame their bad situation, fundamental attribution error, on negative events. Is that clear? Am I going too fast, or is that okay? Is this helpful? Okay. You guys let me know, because this is for you, so if there's anything you want more of or less of or whatever, just tell me. Defensive attribution. So again, it also ties in with all the stuff we were talking about, where it is part of actor-observer bias. It is kind of part of fundamental attribution error, because if someone's in a bad situation, you blame them. But the thing that makes it a defensive attribution is that you're blaming them so that you feel safer somehow. Okay? So she was raped because she was wearing, you know, yeah. What?
I thought that was what it was.
What?
That was terrible. She was raped because she deserved it.
Oh, that's just world phenomenon. That's okay, yeah. You get what you deserve and deserve what you get. Yeah. That's okay. Don't worry, Jerry. We don't think you're a horrible person. Okay? Or, you know, because she was stupid to walk down that street at night without anybody by her side. All right, what about, he had a heart attack because he wasn't watching, yeah, and this, I mean, don't you guys find that whenever you hear, like, let's say you hear that somebody died at a relatively young age, and, you know, let's say it is due to a health problem, like, let's say it's lung cancer. What's the first question people ask? Did they smoke? Does it really matter? You know, they're dead, but we all ask that. I ask it too. Why? Because you hope they did. Because if they didn't, like, you're screwed, right? Because if they did, it's like, okay, then I'm okay, because I don't smoke. Right? All right. It is sad, but it is, that's how we are. All right, so again, individualism, collectivism, we went over that, okay? All right, cognitive dissonance. This is the one that everybody hates, right? Okay, show me, so, cognitive dissonance. You steal pens from your workplace. You know stealing is wrong. Tension, okay? So the tension is the cognitive dissonance. So what do?
You need it?
You make an excuse or you change your opinion somehow. So you say, well, I work from home, so, you know, it's not really stealing. Because my office is, like, my home is like an extension of my office, right? Okay, so that's cognitive dissonance. So remember the study where they gave people, like, a really boring task to do? And then some of them, they paid $1, some of them they paid $20, okay? So really boring task, it sucks, right? $20, okay, you know, not so much tension there because, you know, I'm getting paid for it. Really boring task, $1, tension, this sucks, right? So what do? You lie about what the task was like and you're like, you know what, it wasn't that boring after all. You change your opinion. Okay, you follow? Cognitive dissonance, is that clear? Okay. The boring task, I mean, that's the actual study that was done, and it makes the most sense because it is like really like a change in opinion on the task. So that's kind of the best one to memorize. You want to memorize the scenario. By the way, on the test, on the AP test, you'll never have to come up with your, well, you shouldn't have to come up with your own scenario. Generally what happens is just like I've been trying to give you some that are like that. They give you a scenario and then they give you the terms, like, you know, like the terms that I've been giving you. And then they say, like, how does this apply to the scenario? And so you might define the term and then explain how it applies to the scenario, you know, using the people's names they give and everything. Okay? So that's kind of nice because it's sort of there for you, and as long as you understand the terms, that's why I know at the beginning of the year I said it's very vocab heavy. If you really understand the terms and you can apply them to situations, you're good. Okay? But it's a lot of terms. that's the only thing. So it's good that you guys are here. Okay. Okay, so effort justification kind of goes along with cognitive dissonance. So this is where you go to Disneyland, you stand in a line for 2 hours. So no matter what, you're going to say the ride is what? So good, because otherwise, like, you stood for 2 hours like an idiot for nothing. Okay? So effort justification. Okay. All right. Matching hypothesis. What does it say? Remember Uno cards?
Yeah.
Matching hypothesis. Adrienne. Sorry.
People with the same kind of attraction tend to
End up together. Yeah. So people who have the same level of attraction tend to end up together. Okay? Reciprocity effect in regards to, you know, getting together with people. Yeah.
You like someone back because they like you.
Yeah. We tend to like people who like us back. Okay? Reciprocity effect. There's also reciprocity norm, which is another thing. It has to do with advertising. That's the one where, remember, they'll send you something in the mail, like they'll send you a survey in the mail with $1. And because you get the $1, you feel like what? Like you want to reciprocate and answer the survey. So it's more likely you're going to answer the survey if you get something in the mail. Okay? Same way, like a lot of those organizations, like for example, St. Jude's, which is like a children's cancer research center and hospital, they'll send you like address labels in the mail, like, you know, like your return address with your name and address, the stickers, you know what I'm talking about? And then, so that way when you send out a letter, like you have a sticker with your name and address on it. So they'll send you those, because, you know, it's pretty cheap to print, in hopes that if you get that, you'll what? You'll donate money, okay? All right. So we did that. And again, matching hypothesis is mainly for a romantic connection. Like you end up with someone who's the same level. So do opposites attract? No. No. So similarity breeds liking is sort of the statement that goes with it. Okay, 2 types of love. Passionate and companionate. Which is more first? Passionate. And then later on? Companionate. Correct. Can you have them together?
Yeah.
Yes. Ooh. All right, attachment styles. Okay, so Hazen and Shaver, secure, anxious, ambivalent, and avoidant. Okay, so who can tell me about this study?
Secure attachment showed like those kids who were like dropped off at school and didn't come back. And then when their parents came back, they were happy. So it showed that later in the relationships, that's how they were. Or for anxious, ambivalent, like they're separated, they would cry and cry, and then when their parents came back, they'd become upset. It'd be kind of rocky, and then in later relationships, it'll be kind of rocky, and then avoidant.
So I think you're avoiding the person.
So when the child would be dropped off, they wouldn't care, and then when the parents would come back, they wouldn't care either?
Right, exactly. So avoidant is you never really form an attachment, and later in life, it's difficult to get close to people. Like you maybe don't necessarily trust them or whatever, you just don't have that connection. Secure, most of the population is secure, and that's where, you know, exactly, your parents leave, you know, yeah, you know, you'd obviously rather they stay, but you don't like completely freak out, and when they come back, you're happy to see them. So later on in life, healthy relationships. This is the one that they like to test on because it's the most interesting. Because, like, you know, the babies, you know, they're infants, so they're less than 1 year. They would freak out when the parents left, and then exactly they'd be like, oh, you know what, I leave. And so these are the people who, like, in relationships, they tend to be very jealous and always, you know, want, like affirmation that they're loved and stuff like that. So that's anxious ambivalent. So anything with volatile or rocky or jealousy, that's going to be anxious ambivalent. Okay? Questions? Okay. We're going to study this more, I want to say, in the development chapter, I think. We'll hit that again, though. Okay, culture and love. What are you more likely to, like in the movies, you know, oh, romantic, let's run away together. Individualistic. And collectivistic cares more about what your parents think, what your whole community thinks. Okay? Romeo and Juliet would be individualistic. They did, you know, kill themselves.
I was thinking about
No, oh yeah, you're right, because the parents, you're right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, attractiveness, facial symmetry, remember, symmetry has to do with attractiveness, because if one, and most people are not, pretty much everyone is not symmetrical actually, if you really look, like usually one person has one ear slightly higher, or one eye slightly bigger, it's true. But perfect, you know, whatever, perfect looks or whatever, healthy looks have to do with symmetry because they feel like if something's off, it's a signal that something in your health is off. And so if you're unhealthy, then you're not able to what? To reproduce. And the whole goal of everything, right, is to reproduce, okay, to further on the species, right? And what kind of psychologist, by the way, believes that? Evolutionary, good. Okay. Waist-hip ratio 0.7. Again, this has to do with reproductive potential. If you're like wider in your stomach area, then they think you might be pregnant, and so you can't reproduce more at that time, I guess. So you guys get that? Yeah. I'm not going to go into details. All right. Men. So when women look at men, do they look so much at physical appearance? No. Not as much. What do they look at? If they're able to provide for the family. So ambition is a big thing, right? If they're ambitious, like they want to get ahead. Social status, okay? And remember, when people lie, if men lie about that, it really upsets women. Because they're kind of like fooled, you know, and they want to make sure their family's provided for and stuff like that. And again, this isn't everybody. It's not like women are gold diggers, you know. But this is kind of the, like, whenever we talk about studies in psychology, it's the norm or like most of the population, okay? Okay, menstrual cycles and attraction. When are women most attracted to like rugged men or manly looking men?
Time of the month.
Not time of the month. During ovulation. You wouldn't get pregnant during a period. You get pregnant during ovulation. 2 weeks before.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay? Roughly. Yeah. So and then when are women like most likely to want to hang out with men? During ovulation, yeah. Okay? This is the PG version.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Strippers supposedly made more money. What?
During ovulation, strippers made more money. So they don't know if it was, because, you know, obviously variables confound the study. They don't know if the women are more sort of aggressive or like assertive during that time. You know what I mean, like throwing themselves. Or they don't know if it's something with pheromones and the men. Remember I told you guys about pheromones in the study with the sweat?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, yeah, you don't need to tell us again. Okay, deception. Women are upset when men lie about money. Men are upset when women lie about promiscuity. So that means like if women have, like let's say a guy asks a girl how many people have you slept with and the woman lies about that, they're likely to be very upset. Why?
Because they want to reproduce with that person.
They want to reproduce with that person, and they want to know that if they're providing for the woman, it's actually their baby and not somebody else's. Okay? Right. Okay. So we did reciprocity and reciprocity norm. Mere exposure effect. Remember the what was the movie again? Easy A, yeah. So where the song, she hated it at first, and then over time she ended up liking it. So if you have a scenario where, you know, you're watching a TV show and a commercial comes on, and then like 2 commercials later, the same commercial comes on. Have you seen that happen before? Or right after each other. Or it's like, you know, one Geico commercial followed by a different Geico commercial. So the goal here is mere exposure effect, that the fact that you're going to be exposed to it more, then the more you'll like it. I want to say, one